morning. Good morning. Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Kirsten Hunter. I am the Director of Lifespan Ministry here at South Church, serving in co-leadership with Reverend Ellen Quadgrass and serving in shared ministry with all of you. To those of you who are joining us online and to everyone here in the sanctuary, we are so glad you are here on this beautiful first Sunday in October. I'm a little stunned that it's October already. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that. It comes fast. Leading worship with me today is Worship Associate Becky May and our Director of Children and Family Ministries, Jeanne Deo-Barry. Music this morning will be offered by a plethora of talented musicians, including Susan Adams, our music director, Jonny Peiffer, Laura Donovan, Jen Leiden, and all of you. And Ben Abbott is back at our tech desk, managing the sound and video this morning, as well as checking in on you folks who are online. You are welcome to open the live chat feature if you're here live with us, and say hello. We'd love to hear from you, and Ben will probably write you back. I encourage you to look at your order of service this morning for details about today's worship. Everything that is happening in our community, there is a lot. You maybe noticed if you got the newsletter this month, it went on and on and on. There's so much happening in this church. I'm going to lift up a few things. The first is today is the last day to sign up for a covenant group. If you are someone who is looking for a way to make some deeper connections here at South Church, covenant groups are an excellent way to do that. They meet twice a month. They are framed around the idea of deep listening. It's a really wonderful experience. So find one of the covenant group registrars during social hour and sign yourself up. And I also want to lift up, there are fall circle suppers happening. Another way to meet folks here at South Church. There's actually a QR code right in your order of service where you could sign up for that. And coming up real fast is our all-church read. If you are wanting to join us for that, this year we're reading Rebecca Solnit's book, No Straight Road Takes You There. It's a book of essays, and there's actually a bookmark downstairs if you'd like to pick one up. There's also a copy of the book in our lending library right at the bottom of the stairs. If you'd like to read it quick, you've got 2 weeks, and it's not too long of a book. And one more announcement. I'm going to invite Brian Brown and Soren Brown.
Hear me? No, you can't. Hi, I'm Brian with the Mission United team. That is the renamed ABC Budget Committee. This is our stewardship drive where we raise money and fund all of this and all the work that we do inside and out of this place. And this is Soren, my daughter. My partner, Stacy, and our son, Soren's brother, Declan, are running a charity 5K this morning. Now, they think they're the most fun and spontaneous ones in our family. When we said we're doing an announcement this morning, they said, well, we're not even going to watch because you guys are boring. So we need all of your energy and enthusiasm to prove them wrong, please. So we have a game, a single trivia question that we're going to ask, and the winner gets a free BHP lunch on the 19th after service here. So I'm going to read out this question. Don't be shy. Please, again, the energy. And Soren has a superpower of deduction. She will know who the first person to answer correctly, and she will award the prize. So if everybody's ready, what town is South Church in? It was everybody, but that's great because the lunch is for everybody. So, so everyone is invited on the 19th after coffee hour. That's Sunday, just in a few weeks. And we do need you to RSVP to make sure we have enough food. You can do that online, or you can find myself, Anita, or anyone who looks kind of official, and we will get that message passed along. So thank you again on behalf of the Mission United team, where money and ministry meet.
Yay. Thank you. I'm a fan of creative announcements. So you may have noticed a little ruckus coming from this area of the church. There is a new area for children in our sanctuary, and you'll be hearing more about that in a little while when Jen DB offers the Time for All Ages this morning. But I want to especially welcome the noises of children today. We lift this up often. The sound of children in our sanctuary is a sign of a vibrant church. It can sometimes be a little distracting, but if you keep remembering, it means we're doing well. That can help. So use that today, because whenever there's a new space, children can sometimes have some extra oomph in their energy. There will be religious education programming following the Time for All Ages this morning for any children who wish to participate. Our nursery is open downstairs for children under 3. If parents wish to drop them off, you're also always welcome to keep them here with you. After service, everyone of every age is invited to our social hour. I think this is the last Sunday we're going to be out on the portico. We try to stretch it out as long as possible, and boy, is it gorgeous today. So we'll be out on the front portico for that. In this sanctuary this morning, there are assistive listening devices and large print hymnals in the back. Should you need them, you can talk to an usher to direct you to that. And if you could take a moment and silence your cell phones if you haven't already, that's always helpful. As part of our welcoming words, each Sunday we acknowledge the land where we are as Dakina, the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Pennacook, and Wabanaki peoples, past and present. Our hope is for this acknowledgement to invite us toward actions that might repair harm and damaged relationships with our Indigenous neighbors and friends here in New England and across the globe, as well as with the land herself. May we hold this invitation with particular intention as we consider this morning the idea of compassion and what it looks like, as well as preparing for Indigenous Peoples Weekend in just 7 days. Okay, I invite our invocation.
Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul.
Good morning. Our chalice lighting this morning is adapted from Bear Olakuza. As we light the chalice, may our souls become its hearth. We join our hearts to the one great flame of bright compassion, beloved community, and fervent justice. May we become lanterns to the world, lighting the way for all. Please rise as you are able and join in the mission statement, which is printed in your order of service. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. With all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community. Thank you. I am the youngest of 5 children. My parents had 3 sons 1 year apart, another son 5 years later, then 9 years later, ta-da! Surprise, along came Becky. For those curious about the timing, my oldest brother Jerry was 16 years old when I was born. I was lucky in so many ways. Although my parents were likely very tired by the time I came around, they had a good amount of parenting experience that I benefited from. With 4 boys close in age, any trouble that could have been gotten into had been gotten into. I had lots of protective eyes on me as I grew up. One of my favorite photos is on Easter when I was about 2. I was wearing a cute little pink jacket with white gloves and black patent leather shoes and standing in the front of our church. It looked like I was by myself, but if you look at the edges of the photo, you can see at least 2 of my brothers watching over me. And by the time I was 9 or 10, all my brothers were out of the house, and I got to pick whatever bedroom I wanted. I was also lucky in another way. My parents taught me empathy and compassion from an early age. Now, they didn't sit down and talk to me about those ways of being. They just demonstrated them. Those roots of compassion started early for me. My parents were very active with the American Legion and the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. And as a result, I went with them to a lot of service projects and volunteering activities from the time I was born, probably. The Veterans of Foreign Wars had a truck that had been converted to look like a train engine, and my dad was the engineer and driver, and that was parked in our driveway quite a bit. It was black with silver trim, had a front grate, a smokestack, a bell, and a headlight. And I'll have a picture of it on my phone if anybody wants to see it later. In the back of that truck, or the engine, were seats to give rides. A group of us would take the engine up the Mohawk Trail in Western Mass to a home where children with disabilities lived, and we would give them rides and have a picnic together. My parents also took me to visit with family and friends who were in the hospital or nursing homes from a young age. Then every Memorial Day, we went to the cemetery to put flags on the graves of veterans. When the son of dear friends of our family were killed in a car accident, my parents brought all 5 of us kids over to visit with their family, especially to spend time with their kids during this time. We showed up, sometimes, especially as kids, not knowing what to say or what to do, but we showed up. Thanks to my parents, we began with empathy. At a very young age, we were shown that feeling of connection with others, and therefore, the seeds of compassion were planted. For rides on a fake train, visits to those struggling, for flags on graves, and for being present and even playing with friends during a time of deep grief, I am grateful for those seeds they planted for me.
The lyrics and music for your opening hymn this morning are printed in your order of service. We're singing 2 songs together, one that's pretty familiar and one that you may not know. And we're going to offer some loose guidance up here. Once you learn the new one, you can sing any part of the ones that you know. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. Join me. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. Rise as you are able. Sing it one more time. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe out. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out,
beautiful. That was beautiful.
I am going to introduce our shared plate this morning, which is typically done by our worship associate, but I wanted to... I'm not going to do that at all. I'm so sorry.
She was just kidding, because this is the most important part. All right, I would love for all kids and teenagers and any adults who want to come on up here for a few moments. I'm trying to play it really cool right now, but I am actually so excited. I want to run around and dance because we have a playground now, our very own place for kids to hang out when we're in this room. It's brand new, and today is the first day, and it's already had a whole bunch of kids in there doing quiet, great activities. And drawing. The reason that we made this is because there have been several times where we've asked for input from grown-ups and kids about things that you all want at South Church. And over, people say, we want more time where all ages of people are together, where everybody is together. And not all the time, but more times. But when we do that, we have to remember how to create spaces that are good for all of us to be in. And that can be a little bit tricky because we all have different needs. So the idea with this playground is that kids can go in there. There are activities to play with quietly, little craft kinds of things, and cars to play with on a fun rug, books to look at. And you can be in there so that you don't have to stay in the pews if you don't want to. Because sometimes kids get a little bored in pews, some kids don't. So, kids, you get to choose whether you want to be in there or in one of the seats. Now, when it's exciting with things happening in there and all our friends are in there, it can be really tempting to make a lot of noise and talk loud and laugh together, and I understand that. And at the same time, when we're in this room having worship together, we also have specific things happening that we want to make sure we don't disrupt, right? So if we're over there running around and making a lot of noise, then the people who are here to hear what's going on up here might get distracted, right? So how can we create some agreements for ways to be in there so that we're not interrupting what's happening in this room? What agreements could we make about being in there? Oh, Camille.
Quiet voices.
Quiet voices is a great one, because if we're whispering in there, then we won't distract from what's happening.
Have fidgets.
Yes.
So you don't get all loud.
Yeah, there are fidgets in there, things to do with your hands. Sometimes if we keep our hands occupied, it helps us to have calm bodies and calm voices.
Be safe with the toys.
Absolutely. Be safe with the toys.
And do not break the toys. If you do, you're going to get in big trouble.
Actually, I appreciate that thought. You won't get in trouble if you break the toys. You won't get in trouble. But it's nice if we can treat things gently in there so that we all have them all the time, every time we come here, right?
Don't run around, but if you need something, you can get up and walk and get it.
Yeah, so if we walk instead of running, that helps to not be distracting.
Don't yell.
Right, don't yell.
If someone gets a toy that you want, share.
Yeah, sometimes that can be super tricky, right? If I really want what you're playing with, I really might get upset because I want that, but we can take turns, right? And it will be loud, yeah. And so trying to respect each other, doing our best to share, and every time there will be at least one grown-up in there, we'll call them the playground monitor. So yes, you can volunteer to be a playground monitor, just let me know and I'll get you signed up. But the playground monitors will be in there to kindly help us learn how to be not disruptive and at the same time really enjoy our time in there.
Use the toys properly?
Yeah, use the toys properly, like not stomping on things, right? Yeah, being gentle with them. Yes, so it's probably going to take us a little bit of time to all figure this out together. So I would like to ask grown-ups to be patient with us as we're learning how to be together in there. And kids, I would like to ask you to help us, if we want to be able to keep this playground open and going, help us to grow into all of those agreements for making that a quiet and safe and beautiful spot. It'll be easy. It may not be. The last thing that I want to tell you before we go down, actually a couple more things. One, today is a day that we will go downstairs for our groups. So you can start the beginning of church in there, and then we'll go downstairs together. And then on days where we all stay in the sanctuary, where we don't have class, you can be in there the whole time if you want. So I want to make sure you know that. So the next day for that is 3 weeks from today. Now the last thing I want to tell you is, if we ever needed to leave this room in a hurry for safety reasons, there actually is a bonus element to the playground. I don't know if you know, but that door over there actually goes downstairs. It's like a sneaky way to get downstairs, and halfway down those stairs goes outside. So have any of you ever done a fire drill at school? Yeah, a lot of you. They kind of make you, yeah. So that's practice for if you ever needed to leave the building quickly, you know what to do. And so that's the kind of thing. If we were in that playground, we would move all of us out that door to a safe spot where your parents, if they didn't come with us from the playground, your parents would meet us in the safe spot. And parents, you would exit the nearest door and meet us in the safe spot. So today, we'll do like a really quiet, gentle fire drill on our way to class. And then after church, after classes are done, you can come back up here and check this out more if you want. So for right now, join me in quietly and calmly going through the secret special door.
Now, I would like to share a little bit about our shared plate this month, which is typically introduced by our worship associate, but this month the shared plate recipient was chosen by the minister's discretion. So Reverend Ellen and I have 1 month each year that we get to hold in reserve to be able to be responsive to whatever is happening in the world that needs attention. Then there's 10 months that you all vote on the recipients for, and then there's the 12th month is chosen by our social justice associates. So this month was chosen by Reverend Ellen and I, in part in response to communications and concerns that have been expressed to us by several different members of our congregation, as well as concern that lives in our own hearts. So this month we've chosen the recipient is called the Al-Jawad Camp. They are located in Gaza. This organization is a little bit off of our typical choice because we often choose local organizations as sort of a part of our idea of how to make the most impact here at home. But it feels important to make an exception this year to acknowledge the genocide that is happening right now and the tragedies that we're witnessing live on our phones and on our computers. The Al-Jawad Camp was recommended to me by several UU colleagues whose congregations have also contributed, done fundraisers for them. Al-Jawad is a free educational camp founded by a Palestinian journalist and teacher named Hadil al-Garwabi to offer psychological and educational support to displaced children in Gaza. They were operating in northern Gaza until quite recently, when escalations in that area by the Israeli military forced their displacement to the south. That move pulled a lot of their resources, because in order to do that, they had to find a new tent and new supplies and all kinds of things. Hadil helps the children in her camp to process, feel safe and steady in a time when their lives are none of those things. She does so through yoga and meditation and mindfulness and shared community with them. When I think about what I would do if I was there, I think what Hadil does is pretty close. I think that would also be the choice that I would make in terms of an action, a response to living in that context. You can find Al-Jawad Camp on Instagram. It's called Jawad Camp 2, and I encourage you to do so. There is really beautiful pictures and videos and information about the organization there. I think in the face of devastation, to choose to spread love to children helps us to hold on to hope. And so I hope that choice spreads to all of us this month as we contribute to supporting Hadil and the children of Al-Jawad Camp.
It's now time for our offering. For those watching online or in the pews who are feeling especially tech savvy, there is a QR code in your order of service to give. And then as the baskets are passed hand to hand during the offering, passed among those new and long-standing, those young and old, grieving and celebrating, full of faith or questioning, may we give generously to sustain our beloved community, its work within and outside of these walls. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
I invite us now into a time of meditation or prayer. And as we settle our bodies into our pews and center our thoughts and tune into our hearts, I offer this poem written by Heba Abu Nada. She's a Palestinian poet. These words are translated from the Arabic by Huda Fakhreddin. The poem is titled, Not Just Passing. Yesterday, a star said to the little light in my heart, we are not just transients passing. Do not die. Beneath this glow, some wanderers go on walking. You were first created out of love, so carry nothing but love to those who are trembling. One day, all gardens sprouted from our names, from what remained of heart's yearning. And since it came of age, this ancient language has taught us how to heal others with our longing, how to be a heavenly scent, to relax their tightening lungs, a welcome sigh, a gasp of oxygen. Softly we pass over wounds like purposeful gauze, a hint of relief, an aspirin. Oh, little light in me, don't die. Even if all the galaxies of the world close in, oh, little light in me, say, enter my heart in peace. All of you, come in. If you want to stay in your pew and just stay present with your own heart, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like to come forward and light a candle of a joy or concern you're experiencing in your life, or to send a prayer candle out to anyone else in this beautiful world we live in, you are welcome to do that now as well. Reverend William Sinkford, he's a former UUA president and a very influential leader in our faith, once said, "We are a gentle and generous people, but let us not forget our anger. May it fuel not only our commitment to compassion, but also our commitment to make fundamental changes. Our vision of beloved community must stand against a vision that would allow the privilege of the few to be accepted as just and even holy. Our religious vision must again and again ask the gospel question, who is my neighbor? And strive always to include more and more of us as we intone the words that gave birth to this nation. We, the people. We are, and we should be, both a gentle and an angry people. This month at South Church, our worship theme is cultivating compassion, and Reverend Sinkford's words feel like a particularly important reminder in order for us to consider this topic of compassion in an authentic way. There is much to be angry about right now, here in our state, in our country, and out beyond our borders. We are witnessing rising tyranny and a surge of authoritarianism. There is a particularly terrifying centering of white Christian nationalism here in the United States, being harnessed by the executive branch of our government, who is actively inciting violence and fear, built from the very vision that Reverend Sinkford warns us to stand against, the privilege of the few being accepted as just and even holy. What I hear in his words is a powerful clarity that hope lies in our own hands, and that our power comes from action born of compassion, from love, from resolutely insisting upon the worth and dignity of all people, and therefore being willing to engage with other people's suffering. And to that end, there is nothing wrong with being angry right now. It can help fuel our love. Anger is a natural and appropriate emotion when we are witness to SWAT teams being lowered on an apartment building in Chicago, to children being torn from their beds and zip-tied to each other on a sidewalk, by government officials, our government officials, who have been given permission to enact lawless violence against some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. It is right to be angry. And that anger can help us live into our compassion. This past summer, I had a surprising experience during a workshop I attended. The workshop was about modeling courage. The facilitator started the workshop asking us to think about our favorite age, between the ages of 7 and 18, and to share with each other why. Everyone in the room was drawn back to our childhoods through this invitation. And then we were drawn deeper into memories from our childhoods by sharing our stories with one another. It was an excellent way to open us up and bring us back to a time, for some of us, quite a while ago. We shared stories about the first time we experienced feeling freedom or autonomy, stories about getting a driver's license, first friendships, finding belonging. And everyone had a chance to share. And after that, we were asked to take a few minutes to think of the first time we can remember advocating for ourselves or for someone else. The facilitators shared their own story to help get us thinking, starting with a memory where they actually didn't speak up, they didn't advocate. They remembered back to a classroom experience when a friend of theirs was being falsely accused by their teacher and mistreated fairly aggressively. They shared what it felt like to be a witness in that moment and to be completely frozen by the situation. They spoke about how after the fact they couldn't stop thinking about why they had stayed silent and how it changed them for the rest of their life. And as this facilitator was sharing this story, I found myself returning to a time in my own childhood memories when I too was frozen in the face of an abusive situation. I could feel the paralysis in my stomach as I recalled that memory, as if I was right there again. And then another memory, a situation shortly after that first one, when I came to the defense of a friend who was being harmed. And I came with an intensity that had surprised me at the time, an intensity that I had found hard to contain. A rage, that mama bear feeling. I had never before connected those two memories. But as I sat in that room thinking back, the relationship was inextricably paired. The correlation felt revelatory. At only 12 years old, I was coming to terms with understanding that human beings have the capacity to commit evil acts, and then also discovering that I have the capacity to stand up against those actions. Without me even understanding it at the time, the harm that I had experienced was fueling an action in defense of another. And as I reflected back on that experience, now I understand that I had found a path to dispel my own suffering. That compassionate act was a reclamation of my own power, my own voice, through service to someone else. The Dalai Lama says that compassion is the radicalism of our time. And as we watch political blame shifting invent a new enemy called the dangerous radical left, an enemy to be used as a scapegoat, I like the idea of claiming that word. It is important to be radical in a world rife with conflict and suffering. The mere act of reaching out with kindness and understanding is radical in that context because it challenges the status quo. It disrupts cycles of hate and division, and it offers an alternative narrative built on shared humanity and mutual respect. Compassion dismantles the root causes of suffering through empathy, connection, and collective action. Compassion is not religious business, says the Dalai Lama. It is human business. It is not a luxury. It is essential for our own peace and mental stability, and it is essential for human survival. I've had a lot of conversations lately with friends and family and with people in our congregation who are afraid right now of what is happening. And often the feeling of paralysis and overwhelm comes up in those conversations. In the Buddhist tradition, the causes of suffering are rooted in desire or craving or longing. It's called tanha. Suffering can come from our desire for material things. It can come from our desire for relationships, for longing for love. And suffering can also be caused by our desire for how the world should be. We can suffer by thinking about how the world should be when it's not that way. Whatever its source, acts of compassion are medicine for our suffering. Compassion helps us to dispel suffering because it transforms those desires into action. It moves us from that desiring to doing, and that allows us to release the pain. It doesn't mean that bad things are going to stop happening. It means we know what to do when they do. Zen Buddhist teacher Roshi Joan Halifax has spent much of her life studying compassion and its importance in our world. I watched a pretty short, fascinating presentation that she recorded and is available on YouTube. I can send you the link if you want it, where she talks about what she has learned in her lifetime exploring this idea of compassion. And what became very clear to me during her talk was the understanding that compassion is relational and creative. It requires us to really witness and consider another person's suffering. And then it requires us to consider how we should respond based on what we have experienced ourselves related to suffering as well as related to love. So we first, to be compassionate to someone else, you first tune outward. You tune into them. You think about where they are and what's happening for them. Then you tune inward and you think about what you know. You dig deep to that knowledge that is rooted in your core, that comes from all of these memories that we gather in our life and all of these experiences, and plant themselves so deep inside of us that they are who we are. You tune outward, you draw what you discover from that outward tuning into yourself, and then you think, what am I called to do in response? And when you find it, that is the compassionate act. In many ways, over the past several years, we have talked in this community about how to balance discernment as an important, how to balance and to discern, and that it's an important part of us finding our paths in life. None of us can tend to all of the suffering in the world. If we try, we will burn ourselves out. And this is one of the reasons why being a part of this faith community is so sustaining, because we get to see each other practicing compassion in the world, and that witness is contagious. Just witnessing compassionate acts can pull us out of that place of suffering, and it also inspires us toward those acts ourselves. And you see that all the time here. If I asked you all to talk to each other, I'm not gonna, but if I did, I'm pretty sure you could come up with 5, 10 different examples that you've witnessed here at South Church, examples of compassionate action that have inspired you. We say it every morning here, that we inspire one another, and it's true. Some of us are supporting the shower program here on Thursday mornings. Others are writing cards to someone in our community who's in need of pastoral care. Another group of folks are preparing lesson plans for children's programs and building playgrounds. Others still are giving rides to our immigrant neighbors who don't have a car and need to get to a hearing or to a job. There are teams of us planning heartfelt budget drives and thinking up fun little skits to engage the congregation, to live into the mission of our church with our financial generosity, while others of us are showing up at protests against ICE deportations and city hall meetings, asking our city to take a stand against what is happening in the world. The list just keeps going. Tell me you've ever been somewhere where there's justice and action and compassion happening and you haven't run into someone from South Church. It is okay to be angry. Maybe we can think about that righteous anger we feel as a fuel additive that we mix with the love that is central to our Unitarian Universalist faith and strengthens our resolve. Howard Zinn says, "To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is in infinite successive presence. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a miraculous victory. This is a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's titled, "Please Call Me by My True Names." Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today, I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second I am arriving, to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am a mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river. I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I'm also the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands, and I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names so I can wake up and the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. Amen. I'm going to invite you to stand with me and sing. Hymn number 95 in your gray hymnal.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love. till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
These words are from UU Minister Tendeka. She says, if someone tells you that she or he knows pain, loneliness, loss, fear, and dismay, but does not know the feeling of being sustained by a love that is wider, deeper, and infinitely vaster than the sorrows, hear those words as a commission. Hear your commission to love, to create community, and to heal. One at a time in personal relationships, 10 at a time in covenant groups, hundreds at a time in our congregations, hundreds of thousands at a time in our religious movement, millions at a time as we take our commission deeper and deeper into humility's heart as a justice-loving people who will transform the world. This is the good news of our faith. May it be so.